has been a little bit of time since I was on here, and I'm glad that I could do another video for you guys because it's something that has been on my mind a little bit lately, especially with New Year's right now. We're all kind of making resolutions. We're all trying to figure out who we want to be for 2021. And I wanted to make a video about how to become a realtor in 2021. So hopefully you enjoy this video, and we'll walk you through the steps on what I had to do to become a realtor and sort of give you an idea of what you would have to based on your area. Mine was in Alberta, Canada, but it might be a little bit different where you are, but I think for the most part, it's pretty much the same. So let's get started. One of the first things you got to keep in mind when you're deciding to get into real estate is what type of real estate do you want to work in. So there's three main ones. There's commercial, there's residential, and then there's rural. And you kind of have to pick what suits your flavor best. And what I mean by that is, are you the kind of person that really likes to work with big deals, big clients? Are you somebody that's really interested in what the economic situation is? Are you somebody that's happy to work with things like gross rent multipliers, return on investment, and those sorts of things? Because if that's for you, and if you like those kind of bigger, longer deals, then commercial might definitely be the place that you want to start working in real estate. It's tough, it's very competitive, like all aspects of real estate, but it definitely is lucrative. The deals are a little longer to take place, and you're definitely having less of them, but they're bigger. So if that kind of suits who you kind of are, then maybe commercial is for you. The next one would be residential. Residential is what I decided to go into. I think it's a good starting place for most people that want to get into real estate. There's always money, there's always deals, there's always people buying and selling. And commercial, you have a lot more waiting. Residential, there's less of that. And I think you get to learn a lot faster because you're doing more transactions. The next one would be rural. So this one's funny because if you really like being out in the country, and maybe you even live out in the country, then rural might be exactly what you're looking for. You can really establish yourself out there as the go-to realtor for this little city and that little city and that little city. You're probably gonna have to be traveling a lot more than if you were in just a major metropolitan area, like where I am in Edmonton, because there's lots of little rural towns around Edmonton. But if that's your flavor, if that's what you like, if you like kind of being out there, rural could definitely be your thing. You definitely have to work on other things, you know, obviously like super simple things like utilities in rural can be a little tricky. Getting electricity out to different units and looking at wells and septic tanks and septic fields and that sort of thing. Those are differences between residential and rural that we don't really deal with in residential. But if rural's your thing, maybe you're, you know, a farm boy or a farm girl at heart, and you have this passion at working with, you know, people in agriculture, then maybe rural is the way to go for you. So one of the first things you got to ask yourself is, are you even eligible to become a real estate agent? So there are three sort of main things that I encountered. You got to be over 18 years of age, and you've got to be able to be good with English. And kind of what they mean by that is, because our contracts are in English, you got to be able to explain that. You got to be able to walk clients through a purchase agreement or an exclusive seller representation agreement in English. So that's one of the important parts, is you got to have kind of a strong grasp of English. And then one of the ones that I was surprised to find when I was going through the preliminary stages of getting certified was you can't have gone bankrupt. Essentially what they're trying to look out for is, I guess, money laundering issues for the most part. So bankruptcy is one of the red flags for them. They don't want a real estate agent who is potentially had a history or something involved in money laundering, because real estate, as everybody knows, is a huge source of money laundering in the criminal world. So now that you've focused on what type of real estate you want to do, residential, rural, commercial, now you have to go ahead and get certified and get licensed in that specific field. First thing you gotta do is you gotta go through the course. And the course is basically an entire introduction to real estate. We call it the fundamentals of real estate in Alberta. And it's about $1,300 and change to take that course. You've got to pass exams, you've got to get everything all prepared, you've got to, obviously there's a written exam that you got to do, and every time you take one of those exams, there's an exam fee. So that ended up being about $120 for me to do all the exams and exam fees. After you're done doing the kind of general course that outlines all aspects of real estate, then you have to take a second course that focuses on either residential or commercial or rural. So again, I picked residential, and that one is about $800 to take that course. That one gives you kind of everything you need to know as far as like the logistics of residential real estate. I will say that like experience is the best teacher, as we all know, but these courses are important because they give you an idea of like, is this really for you? Like, do you really want to be involved in something like this? Because it kind of takes sort of the romantic, exciting, you know, going out and showing like the Property Brothers, or going out and, you know, helping clients buy their dream home, and it gives you a bit more of the nitty-gritty, the behind the scenes of how real estate really works. Once you finally pass that course though, then you have a licensing fee. Oh, there's just so many fees when it comes to getting set up here. But honestly, if you compare it to like a degree where you're going to school and you have all of your student loans and that sort of thing, getting certified to become a realtor or real estate agent isn't actually so bad, and the payoff can be quite substantial as far as like what your career can give you. But again, there was another fee on top of that, a licensing fee, and I think that one was around $400. So the grand total for me was about $2,745 to kind of get the basics and getting fully licensed for real estate, passing all the exams. That's what it was for me. There you go, you're fully licensed. You are focused in on a specific aspect of real estate. So we're gonna look at residential again for us. Now, are you done? Not really. There's still a few other things to do. So you're gonna wanna get your insurance. So there's errors and omissions insurance that you need to have. All real estate agents and realtors working in Alberta have to have some type of coverage as far as insurance goes. And then you also have to get a criminal background check as well. So it's the whole gamut. You do the full fingerprint, they look you up, you wait in this long line in this awful, legal building, and you have to get the criminal background check done, and you have to obviously pass that. The next part is actually a really fun part, at least it was for me. You get to pick your brokerage. And what's interesting about this is with picking a brokerage, it's almost like reverse interviewing for a job. Because normally when you're interviewing for a job, you're hoping to get on with this person. And so you're coming out with your best, and you're trying to like prove to them you're the right fit for their company. And with real estate, it's a bit different. So you're gonna wanna pick a brokerage to go with. And what I suggest that you do is you go to lots of different brokerages. I went from everything from like mom and pop brokerages to the full, the biggest in the city, Remax, Century 21, Royal LePage. And then I ended up finding a brokerage that's, I guess would be considered like boutique. And I love it. It's so good. And what you kind of just want to find a brokerage that works with you, because some brokerages, they're not really good for new agents. There's just a lot of senior agents there. They're all experienced, they're all weathered, and they're just doing their thing. So there's not as much of a training aspect there. And then other brokerages do have good training for new agents, a lot of support there. So you're gonna wanna make sure you get a brokerage that has that support. You want a brokerage that can actually give you a proper boost to get out the door. For me, I picked Local Real Estate. They're a kind of, I guess would be considered a bigger boutique brand here in Edmonton. And I picked them because they were just so genuine and real, and they have kind of a modern office. I really like it. If you're gonna bring clients into the office, this was great. It's very, very kind of a cool brand. They have kind of an Apple logo, and they certainly have a good reputation. And so that's kind of what I was looking for. And so when I went and interviewed with all the different companies out there, I just got a feel of them all. So picking your brokerage is really fun because you literally get to pick it. So pick a good one, look around, take your time. There's no rush to get into a brokerage. Obviously you want to get working fast after you've been licensed, but there's no rush. Find one that works for you, that's good speed for you. All right, now that you've picked your brokerage, or at least you're looking and you're kind of feeling one way or the other about what brokerage you want to be a part of, you also have to keep in mind that in order to access the MLS, which is the multiple listing service, and to be part of Realtor.ca, you have to be part of a local board. So the Edmonton Association of Realtors, that's my local board here in Edmonton, and they provide you access to those major tools to get yourself in front of potential buyers with your listings, because that's what you want. The most eyes you can get on your property is the best way to do it. And by being associated with the local board, you have access to those tools like MLS, like a service we use called Web Forms, which is an easy way to send digital documents, contracts, things like that. So these are some of the benefits that come from being a part of a board, and being a part of a board allows you access to things like Realtor.ca as well. For me, I think it was about $2,800 for the membership fee to become part of the board and to be part of that service. And then there's a course that you have to take, at least in Alberta. It's called this Service for Success course, and that one's a little over $500 that you got to take. That's a mandatory course. There's like a keypad that you get, and you have a keypad rental fee as well. But the keypads are nice because they're just like a big lock that goes on the door, and that keeps your keys so that other realtors can access it, and it's all through Bluetooth, and it's really, really handy. So those are some of the extra fees that come along with becoming a realtor and being able to access major tools like the MLS. So if you're wondering what the grand total for me was in getting certified, becoming a realtor, getting on with the brokerage, going through all these courses and fees and licensing and all this stuff, for me it was about $6,700 worth of fees and of charges, and that's kind of what it took to get me to that point where I was fully licensed and I was literally ready to start taking on clients. So if you're a self-motivated person and 2021 is the year that you're going to go out there and you're going to just become a realtor, take that next step into real estate. Maybe you've been talking about it for a long time. I definitely encourage you to do it. If you're thinking about getting licensed in real estate and you want to drop me a personal message or a message down in the comments, please do so. I'll be happy to answer that. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.